guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm pre-recording for International Women's Day. It's a part of the Women in Politics series. And I have with me the Federal Minister for Human Rights, Dr. Shireen Mazari. So let's go and talk to her. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Mazari. Thank you so much for being here. How are you today?
Walaikum salam. I'm good. It's a pleasure to be on your channel.
Thank you so much. I'm going to start out by asking you whether you're from a political background. Is your family a political family?
Yes, I come from a political family. We are basically from the rural area, South Punjab, and most of the families there, the big families, tend to be in politics, and that was the case with my family as well. My late father was a member of once he retired from government service, he was a member of the PPP and a member of the first parliament where Benazir was the prime minister. And my late brother-in-law also was a member of the provincial assembly twice. So we are a political family and are involved in politics in our local areas.
Okay, wonderful. So was going into politics something you wanted from the beginning, or how did you decide to join politics?
Well, I was basically an academic. I taught for 16 years at Quaid-i-Azam University in the Department of Defense and Strategic Studies. And I was active in the teachers' trade union politics of the university teachers, not just at the level of the university, but Pakistan University Teachers Federation. I was their general secretary, and then I was their president once. So in that sense, I guess I was not apolitical when I was a teacher either. And then I used to be a regular writer for newspapers. When the Prime Minister, when he was forming his party, actually, he came and requested that I also join because we knew each other. But I told him that at the moment I was teaching, I was a government servant, so it was not possible. But I did tell him, if I ever decide to join politics, I will certainly join your party. And that's exactly what I did when I made the decision to join politics. The decision itself was not that difficult to join politics, but the timing certainly was particular in the sense that I was heading the Institute of the Strategic Studies in Islamabad, which is linked to the Foreign Ministry during the Musharraf period. And when the PPP came into power and Zardari became the president, the first thing he ordered was my removal from there because of my, I guess, critical views of the United States. Hussein Haqqani was instrumental in that. And when that happened, I decided maybe the time has come to go directly into politics. So I remember I just went to Banigala and told Imran Khan that I'm here now and I'm joining your party. And that was it.
Okay, well, it's really good to have somebody like you, a lady like you in politics in Pakistan, because unfortunately, we still have women who face a lot of obstacles when wanting to join. Even though you're from a political family background, do you still face, as a woman, do you face obstacles? Did you face when you wanted to join, or do you face them now as a politician?
There were no obstacles to my joining politics because I come from a family where we've always had equal treatment of children, whether male or female. I remember my father encouraging me at all times on whether I wanted to study abroad, whatever I wanted to do. So in that sense, from the family perspective, I never faced any obstacles or problems. Surprisingly, actually, in my career also, although I was teaching in a field where not many women, at least at that time, were there, and I used to go to the Defense College from the time of Ziaul Haq actually to give lectures, I never really found harassment. I was never harassed. I didn't really feel that I was facing obstacles as a woman. Where I found the obstacles started to come in was basically within, once you're in a political party, then you really begin to see the sort of male domination, and you begin to see how women are, you're treated with respect, but you are treated not quite up there at the same level as the male leaderships. And it is difficult. Although I must say, in the PTI, I have been a part of the central executive. I've been a part of the core committee, but I am also very aggressive about demanding what I feel should be my position, and that helps a lot. In other words, what I'm saying is, women have to be very thick-skinned to be able to not just survive in politics, but also to go forward. And also, what I discovered was, especially when at jalsas and so on, I found that a lot of women were manhandled, women were, roughed up, not by the leadership, but by the ordinary members. In jalsas, there are huge crowds and so on. And so we started making special arrangements for women so that they would come to our jalsas and also have protection. And because of that, we found, when we were doing especially our dharna, we found a lot of women coming, although it used to go on late at night. But women did come because we provided them that safe environment in which they could express themselves politically. And that is very important. Political parties have to provide a safe and enabling environment for women. Unfortunately, in the assembly, National Assembly, and I don't know, probably that exists in the provincial ones as well, but I can tell you my own experience in the National Assembly, where I, as a woman MNA, have been heckled and have been abused. I want to say here that not by the PPP. They do show respect to women parliamentarians, but by the PMLN, who were, Khwaja Asif actually abused me. He called me names on the floor of the House. And what was unfortunate was that the women members of his party, by and large, supported him. And they broke up the Women Caucus consensus because they were not prepared to issue a statement condemning what he had said. So this is also the unfortunate part.
Very unfortunate.
And that is difficult for women. But as I said, we are the people who are, in a way, the flag bearers, and we want to bring more women into politics. So we have to learn to be thick-skinned. If you're in politics, whether you're a male or a female, you can't expect that people will not criticize you, they will not wrongly accuse you. That happens. That is sadly the culture in our politics. Abusing family members are also dragged into abuse, but this is unfortunate, but it does happen. So if you're thinking of coming into politics, while you want to change the system, you have to be prepared to take the rough that comes while you're trying to change the system.
You've answered that really well. So my next question had been that I would ask you if you have trouble with sharing your opinion and views and being respected for that. But yes, you've already answered that.
No, I've never had a problem sharing my views and sharing them very categorically, because I feel if you're not able to give your views even properly, and you're hesitant because you feel somebody may get upset, then I think you're not being honest with yourself. And at the end of the day, you have to answer to your conscience.
Right, exactly. Well said. So, Dr. Mazari, what do you think of women's wings? Do you think that that women should have separate wings? And how do they help women? How do these wings help women?
I think my views on women wings are not the same as the women wing members of our party, even, to be very honest. I feel you have to be very careful. If you have, in one way, yes, women wings at the district levels and at tehsil levels are good, because they encourage women who may be hesitant, especially in conservative society like ours, who may, so women wings can encourage women to come and start participating in politics. But then you have to make difficult choices. Do you want women to remain in a separate pathway, totally parallel development, where like an apartheid system, where women wing at the center will develop, but they'll only be members of the women wing, so they will function separately. So how much of a say would then women have in the mainstream party?
Right.
That it may discourage women from coming into the mainstream party. So I think that women wings at best should be up to the district level, and at the provincial and federal levels, you should have women then coming into the mainstream of the party, because we don't want to see a separate apartheid system. And
Right.
women, if they want to finally come into mainstream politics, which means electoral politics, then they have to be hardened. They have to learn to deal with the punches that come, whether
Right.
they're wrong punches, but you have to learn to deal with them, and you have to learn to stand up and fight against those who would undermine you.
Absolutely. Often, when I talk about women joining politics, and I try to promote the idea of women joining politics, and I'm asked this question very often by men: why should women join politics? Why is there a need for women to join politics? What would you say to that?
I think the question itself shouldn't be there. Why shouldn't women join politics? Everybody who wants to bring about change and they feel that they have political views, that they want to get involved in decision making through parliament, it's everybody's right. So I think even asking the question, why should women join, I think makes it seem as if it's something not mainstream. Women should become part of mainstream politics. So, why should men ask the question that why should women join? In fact, why should anyone ask the question? The question should be, why are more women not joining politics?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. What do you think political parties can do to bring more women into politics?
I think one is we have to begin at the grassroots level. The first thing that all parties should do is to encourage registration of women voters. Then I think at the tehsil and UC levels and district levels, you need to have the party encourage women coming into the party organizations to and to make decisions regarding the party. So you actually bring about a politicization of women. And by the way, we have to stop thinking politics is a dirty word. Politics is what governs our society. We are a polity. And therefore, you can't sort of, this whole idea that, oh, our family women will not go into politics because it's a bad thing, or where women are insulted and so on. This is an elitist uh, mindset which you have to get rid of. So that's one of the I think political parties need to educate women from the grassroots level to get them politicized. The other thing I think, and I know that this is not the mainstream view, I think that we have lost a lot of ground in bringing youth and women into mainstream politics, and in the right way, where they understand political culture, where they understand that you have to cooperate, that you have to learn to tolerate differences of opinion. Where we have lost out is by banning unions, whether it's trade unions or student unions, because student unions, and for 16 years I taught at university, and the damage done by banning student unions was terrible, a big cost. Because what happened, you ban student unions, remember student unions bring about a variety of people, so people learn to coexist with each other, to be tolerant of the other's viewpoint. What happened when you banned student unions was that ethnic groups came into being. So you had the Pashtun groups, you had the Baloch students, you had the Punjabi students, then you had sectarian groups coming in. the Jamaat-e-Islami had its own group, other religious sects had their own groups. So what happened was you created polarization amongst your youth. And that polarization became much more embedded, because after all, those are the formative years of a person when they are moving from being teenagers and children into becoming adults. That's the time period they spend in universities and colleges. So I think that that has been very unfortunate, because our generations have, when they mature, they are already polarized in their thinking, they are intolerant in their thinking, and we are seeing the results of that in our society today.
Okay, so thank you so much for that. Before we go, I just want to ask a last question. What can be done to bring more women politicians in decision-making positions within their own parties? Like you said that you have been made part of decision-making in your party, but what can be done to bring more women in decision-making parties? Should women also be doing something about that?
I think we have to stop thinking within the party structures. We have to really stop. We have to end this mindset that we'll only consult the women when it relates to women issues, as if women can't have an understanding of mainstream politics, of how elections should be organized, how you train your polling staff and so on. I think women are much better at doing that. But women are never consulted on party matters of organization, because it is assumed that they won't know as much as the men do, which I think is wrong. This is an erroneous assessment, or erroneous, and it's very judgmental also.
Right.
The other problem is that our PTI doesn't have that. PPP maybe also not as much, but some of the parties, especially one of the like the PMLN, their women in politics are basically family members. And because they're family members, they're treated as family members, told to vote this way, to give this opinion. They never really come to the forefront. It is unfortunate. And if you look at the present PMLN women in parliament, you'll find most of them are related to the leadership of one way or another. I don't want to name them. Some are very competent women, but it's all family oriented. And we have to stop doing that. The whole idea of reserved seats was that you would bring competent women, technocrats, professionals who would not have constituencies, but they would contribute to national policy making. So
Right.
you have to actually make that happen. That doesn't really happen across the board.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Mazari, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you like this video or learned something from it, please make sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you next time. Khuda Hafiz.